So Gary, it's pretty funny that we have you on and we have Nick Old School Pokemon on because you've helped to single-handedly grow Nick's entire business by selling him an absolutely ridiculous amount of Shadowless cards.
Yeah, that's only some of them too. Yeah, I know. He got a whole, he got, I don't know, 10,000 or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
It was around. It was a whole bunch of them. I don't know the exact number. I think it was around like 7,000 or 8,000. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Gary, you opened all those booster boxes to pull. I mean, obviously you said that's not all of them, but you're talking probably close to 20,000 total, right?
Many, many, many. Yeah, that's true.
And you opened those all yourself?
Yeah. Well, me and the boys back then. Me, Jay, and Devin. Yeah, but everything was always protected. Like Nick can probably tell you, everything was always mint, at least pack fresh. Mint.
Yeah.
Right, Nick?
Oh
Pretty
yeah.
Much?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You ever miss those days, Gary?
I'll tell you what. It was an awful lot of fun. It really was, and I loved the Shadowless at a time that no one even paid attention to them. So I used to go to Frank and Sons with my boys every Wednesday and Saturday and go through every single booth and just bought up all the Shadowless from them. And remember, that was 99, so even their cards were very fresh. But I just liked the looks of them, because they looked like my first edition.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went and I just bought all of them when nobody else was buying, even paying attention. They were just buying them like they were regular unlimited. So, and then a story I've told many times, I got 1,000 hollows just by sending pack scratched unlimited hollows back to Wizards, and then they replaced them from the replacement room. And they would send back Shadowless cards. So I'd send them unlimited, shadowed, and they would send me back fresh, never in a pack, Shadowless hollows. So, yeah, and as soon as I got those back, I said, well, wait, and I started just sending in all kinds of them, hoping to get a whole load of Shadowless hollows. But that was at a time when there was no interest at all in Shadowless. Not only that, but I called them. Their first name was actually No Shadow. I called them No Shadow cards. And a couple years later, when PSA finally agreed to designate them, they changed the word to Shadowless.
Did you have to fight for PSA to designate them? Because you probably were one of the very first, right?
2 years. 2 years it took me to get Joe Orlando to finally designate them. And he was a semi-friend. And he said there's just it's just not something they can do. But I stayed after him for 2 years.
How many did they grade as
finally, when it
unlimited
went
now?
through, I was so happy. I can't even tell you. And needless to say, I sent in a slew of cards at $4 a piece to be graded, and that's how I ended up with so many. Yeah.
Zach, when you were going after your goals, what did you feel was like tougher to get your hands on, the Shadowless cards or the first edition cards? Because Shadowless are tough to grade, man.
Yeah, first edition was always available, and one of my first big deals I did with Gary is, I don't know, Gary, if you remember this, but I traded you like 12 or 14 PSA 9 first edition base cards for, it was like 2 less. It was like 10 or 12 PSA 10 Shadowless cards. So I got my Shadowless set really just almost with one deal with Gary, which was kind of awesome.
Oh, yeah. What year was that?
That was probably 2014, maybe 2013.
Oh.
I remember I was so nervous packing something to Gary because I had such respect for him, and he had the eBay listing with the first edition base case and the 5 first edition PSA 10 base sets, and I was like, this guy knows his stuff. I gotta make sure I package it nice. So I took every card, I put a piece of cardboard between every single card, and then I saran wrapped it, then I bubble wrapped it, and I shipped it in this like brick. And he got the package. He said, "Oh, that
He
was."
thought it was drugs or something.
But I was so nervous to send him cards in a trade, and him be like, "Man, this guy doesn't know how to ship." Like I was so fearful of Gary telling me I didn't know how to ship cards.
I still don't think I got them all opened yet.
Yeah.
You can send them back. You can send them back, man.
You get a lifetime supply of saran wrap.
Yeah.
Still
I love
wrapping
it.
veggies
Saran
and stuff
wrap.
with it. Yeah.
Most of you guys know I always use saran wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ryan, when you were doing your big buys, like buying out collections and stuff, you ever run into Shadowless boxes? Because I know Nick obviously famously, famously got super lucky with a whole case.
Well, I've literally found eBay listings of Shadowless boxes that were listed at the price of base boxes, bought both, and then, there's probably someone on E4 that went to the seller, said, "Oh, you don't know what you have," and then my order eventually got canceled, and then they got sold off eBay.
But
several times.
But
several times that's happened.
You know when Nick got his case though, right? Were you part of that, or that he just
It's
did
not
that?
his friend yet, I don't think.
Wasn't cool
No,
enough.
he didn't creep in my DMs yet. But yeah, like I've never had the luck. I've never been lucky enough to get a Shadowless box.
Yeah.
Like it happened 3 times where I bought boxes on eBay and then they canceled.
Yeah, I had a Shadowless blister and it fell apart on me. The glue.
Oh, I have Shadowless blisters. Yeah, I have some of those. But...
Yeah. And it was light. I ended up opening it. Yeah. Whatever.
Not smart. Not smart.
No.
Never worth it.
I didn't weigh it either, which is, yeah.
That's even dumber.
There's a couple layers to that story. Of
Naughty
how dumb
is
that
even dumber.
Yep.
Like I pulled some guaranteed Shadowless packs off of eBay and I pulled a Poliwrath. Yay. I got a 10, but still.
Yeah.
I actually bought a Shadowless box
pay for the
way
pack?
back in the day off of I don't know if Gary or Zach, you gotta remember him, but Triumphant 6 on eBay, Mark. He had a
Mark
whole bunch of
from
Shadowless
Florida,
back in
or
the
he
day.
moved to Florida.
Yeah, yep.
He was big time. He bought more Shadowless cards from me than anybody else in the world. He loved Shadowless.
I can believe it because he had a ton of that stuff, and I bought a box from him. I forget how much I paid, but it had to have been under 1,000 because this was back when I was in high school. And I opened a few of the packs and then sold some loose packs as well. Wish I had kept that sealed because that's one thing I would love to own now is a Shadowless box.
Something real fast about him. It was, I think, Triumph TR5.
That's
You're
what
right.
it was. Yes.
And his name was Mark. The very first designated Shadowless order I got back, I had 2 Charizards in it that belonged to him. And it was the lowest serial number. I put his on top. And so he actually got the very first designated Shadowless card ever given out by PSA.
Oh wow, that's
That's
cool.
pretty wild. And it was a Zard too, huh?
And I bet he still has it because he didn't sell a lot,
So
I middleman to Shadowless box and UPS Customs opened it.
Ooh.
Oh,
Really?
ouch.
Like
that hurt.
jammed like in the bottom of it and like ripped it open like that, like just like viciously, just from the bottom ripped it open just to check to see if there was drugs. Probably, I would assume.
Scary. That's always scared me. That's